So, most autoimmune advice tells you what you need to cut out, what you need to get rid of. But what if healing doesn't start with cutting more things out and actually starts with what's in your kitchen? So, hello, I am Holistic Jen. I'm a health educator, a whole food plant-based culinary coach, and a master herbalist. And I help people use food and plants, I have a podcast even called that, as tools for healing, especially when the body feels overwhelmed, inflamed, and stuck. If you've ever lived with an autoimmune condition, I have, or you know someone who has, you know it's rarely just about the immune system. Yes, that is the main thing, but there's a lot more going on. It's involving the digestive tract, stress, mindset, maybe even underlying viruses and things like that. And how safe does the body feel day to day? That was a main trigger for me. So today I want to talk about the food. It's my favorite thing to talk about, not as a diet, not as a rigid set of rules, but as communication. How do we use food as communication to get the body to do what we want the body to do, right? Every bite we take, everything that you put on your fork sends information to your immune system. So, are you eating the things that are giving the information you want to give? If you know, like for me, I have all the genes for celiac disease. I do review genetics and I'm happy to talk to you about that. But I have all the celiac genes. I have no idea. I've never had digestive problems. Didn't have a history of stomach aches, which is what I thought celiac disease was. So I can't eat gluten. But when I do eat gluten, that's when my thyroid antibodies go up. If I ate that gluten, then my antibodies would always be up. And so I have to choose not to eat the gluten, not to eat the pasta, not to have the bread, not to eat the crackers. And when I don't eat those, I need to not eat the gluten-free crackers. There's so many on the market. I can get gluten-free muffins, chocolate chip cookies, brownies, cakes, right? All those things. But those are usually made with rice flour, tapioca flour, root starch, things like that, potato starch, things that are going to spike blood sugar because there's not fiber in there. It's not a whole food. So we have to learn what foods that we need to help our body and not just switch A for B because it's still going to be inflammatory. So autoimmune conditions aren't just the immune system failing. It's the immune system responding to too many signals at once. So for me, I was a big baker. I was baking bread every week and croissants and pizza crust, all sorts of things. I had gone to culinary art school. I love, love, love baking. I was making all these things. So I was eating those. So we know that was affecting my gut. I was always under too much stress. I didn't know how to manage stress and have lots of childhood trauma. So you put all those things together and don't address them. I could address one, but if I don't address all of them, there's going to be a main thing going on, right? So food can add to that noise, eating the gluten in my case, or I can eat foods that are anti-inflammatory, are going to signal to the immune system that it needs to calm and find ways to calm my body at the same time through foods. And that can help to reverse things too. So this is why healing doesn't happen when we just do elimination diets or do the autoimmune protocol. I did that. I ended up so sick and so depleted that I was worse after I did the AIP protocol. And so remember, you are unique. I remember one of my doctors telling me that I was a medical mystery. Believe me, you don't want to be a medical mystery if you're in the conventional medical system. And unfortunately, I had another doctor, the same doctor actually told me that I would die if I didn't have radioactive iodine. And so, yes, I'm still trying to work on forgiveness for that. I did the radioactive iodine and then I learned that I didn't have to do it. And so I have to rely on medication. The only thing is, I'm allergic to the standard of care when it comes to someone who's had radioactive iodine. I'm allergic to it. And so I can't take it. And here in the state I live in Georgia, there's very few doctors who will let me do a compounded thyroid medication, which is stupid and ridiculous. So I'm a victim of the system, and maybe you are too. And so we don't want to be that one size fits all. We don't want to follow protocols. They may work for some people, but they're not going to work for everyone. I've never been one size fit all. I'm 5'1". And there's no item of clothing or shoes that I can wear and my 6 foot friend can wear, right? It's silly. So be careful when you look for protocols. I used to search for all the protocols, the leaky gut protocol, the autoimmune protocol, all those things. And just like those clothes, your body is different as well. So this is where you have to do some research. And this is where people get stuck. So then where do I go if I'm not following certain protocols? Well, we have to look at foods that we know are generally safe for everyone, right? In autoimmune healing, the body often responds better to warm cooked foods. So if you've been doing juice fasting or a raw foods diet with lots of cold foods, then that may be slowing you down. You may need more warm foods. Sometimes warm foods help with digestion, help calming any inflammation going on in the digestive tract. And so we want to look at that. We want more simple meals, not things that are too complex. I love to cook, and so my meals are pretty complex. It's hard for me to have simple meals or mono meals, right? Foods that are easy to digest. So if you're really high in having a flare or lots of inflammation, then we're going to look at what are you eating? What can we calm your digestive tract, calm your digestion, and make things easier for you to absorb those nutrients. And we want to make sure that you're meeting all of your nutrient needs. And I'm not talking about following, you need to eat X amount of protein, right? Or this kind of protein. We need to look at you as an individual and make sure you're doing the things to absorb those amino acids, not necessarily the protein, but those amino acids. Soups and stews and one pot meals can be super easy, especially if you're so tired, you don't want to be cooking. The last time I had a flare, I could hardly even hold my cell phone. And so I know what it's like. We want to have lots of energy. We want to be able to get in the kitchen and cook, but we do have those days. And so having something that's quick and easy and warm and comforting can be really helpful for the digestive tract and for reversing those flares or bringing down those antibodies. So this is something that I see over and over again in my own clients. I work with lots of people with different types of autoimmune disease. I've had several types because I got really sick when I couldn't get that medication. So normally if you have one autoimmune disease, they usually come in pairs or threes. And so when I was really sick back in 2022, I ended up, I think I had 5 at one time, which is crazy. I just had blood work and I just have a little bit of elevated antibodies. I did have corn, which you may not know, I'm allergic to corn, but I was eating Christmas Eve and was like, there's corn in here. And sure enough, there was corn kernels in a meal that I had ordered. So another thing that is very common in autoimmune is food fear. I'm afraid to eat this. I'm afraid to eat that. And honestly, I'm afraid to eat corn. I'm afraid to get gluten, right? Because I like to have my antibodies nice and calm. But we don't want to have too much food fear. Don't want to be afraid to eat too many things. It's fairly common and much easier now to not eat gluten. Most people are aware of gluten. You have to be a little more careful going out to eat. But if you're cooking at home, then you can definitely control what you're eating. You don't have to be that much afraid of eating certain foods. Like I said in the beginning, safety is very important for healing. And so we want to feel safe, not afraid of our food. So healing happens when we are calm when we eat, when we eat nourishing foods, and when our body feels safe as well. So this is something that I teach regularly for another doctor, but also in my own group. I teach people one-on-one, but I have a membership group, the Culinary Healing Circle, and this is exactly why I created it. I wanted to make sure that other people with autoimmune conditions had a place that they could work together, learning how to prepare comforting foods that are easy on the digestive tract and help with immune signaling and finding the ones that are right for you, because what's right for me may not be what's right for you. So we have to really look at those different components and not follow protocols and not look at rigid rules, but realize, hey, you are unique. Inside the Culinary Healing Circle, we cook together. We have food demos a couple days a week. We talk about food as medicine. I have a masterclass every month. I'm getting ready to teach one in a few minutes. And we build confidence around cooking techniques, getting into the kitchen, knowing what to buy in the grocery store, and knowing how to prepare those foods. So if you're looking for a supportive way to nourish your body and reverse those antibodies, I would love to talk to you. You can comment below, or you can check out culinaryhealingcircle.com. I'd love to have you join me.